Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Cassandra, your girl from Pecan Porch Boutique. Come on y'all, take a walk with me out to the backyard so you can see our next project. And my backyard is looking a little bit better, y'all. I did get some of the rest of the fall leaves picked up, but you know, I still got stuff to do. My brother built me these ramps, one on the porch to the shop and one off the back porch, so that we can, you know, do a better job of getting the dolly with furniture up and down rather than going up and down the steps. Anyway, y'all, come on in, come around the corner, excuse the shop because it's a hot mess, but take a look at our next project, y'all. Bam! Yep, this is it. This is it. This is a vintage chest of drawers, y'all. And yeah, it's a blue beast right now, but the best part, it was free. Yep. So my the lady that runs the shop where my booth is, she always gives me stuff, and sometimes stuff is left in the shop or whatever. So she gave me this blue beauty. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a beauty, even though it's kind of hideous right now. But you know, somebody did their best. So yep, this is it, y'all, and you can see I've already started the process of cleaning. So after a good scrub down, both inside and out, I am going to start the process of adding some texture. Y'all already know how much I love texture and layers, so that's going to be a part of this project. I'm starting out with Apothecary. It is this beautiful green color by DIY Paint. All the paints that you see me using today are by DIY. I'm going to mix that Apothecary with some salt wash. Salt wash is a texture additive. It doesn't change the color of your paint, and you're supposed to mix it in a 1-to-1 ratio. Although y'all already know I'm a rebel, so I just kind of do my own thing. Get it as thick as you want or as thin as you want. So here I am mixing it up, and I want to get it mixed up so that it, you know, it's thick enough that it hangs onto my little mixer, and then I'll be good to go. So now I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to stipple it on. But I realized as soon as I started stippling this on that this was not going to be the right brush for the job. It was a little too stiff, and you kind of need a brush that has a little bit of a give in it. So, you know, I tried it a couple times and then that didn't work. So you'll see this is a different brush right now. And so here I go. Hi-ho a cheerio, a stippling we will go. So now I'm off to stippling, y'all, and I'm gonna tell y'all, this is a workout for your arms. But you'll see I'm gonna get the stippling done, and the stippling helps to create texture with the texture. So I'm gonna stipple this drawer all over, then I'm gonna go into fast mode and I'm gonna stipple everything else. We're gonna have a lot of Apothecary for this first layer. I'm also stippling because this chest not only has, you know, this blue and white all over it, but some of the white parts are raised. You're going to see, though, in a little while. I'm just going to embrace some of this because, you know, I don't want to ruin my free. So, but the stippling helps to cover some of those raised areas as well. So now I'm coming back with DIY's crinoline. Crinoline is this really pretty soft kind of a white color. And so this is going to be my second layer for some of the areas. So I'm going to start at this top drawer here, and I'm coming back over the textured Apothecary with the crinoline for the top drawer. I'll also be using crinoline for the panels on each side of the chest, and also for that top little scalloped edge for the middle of the drawers to divide them off, and for that bottom scalloped edge. And so you'll see as I keep going that crinoline color is going to be also added to the apothecary. So here you see in those little panels on each side of the chest, I started with the crinoline, but then I changed my mind. You'll see that later on. And I thought, you know, why am I using crinoline? But it actually did a really good job of covering, even with one layer, covering up some of that blue and that white. But later on, down the line, I changed my mind, which sometimes I do. And here we are, y'all. Phase 1 is complete. You will see that there is apothecary and crinoline, and on that little plaque on the top drawer, I did that in DIY's old school, and you'll see that come back too in just a little bit. But you know, so far, I gotta tell y'all, even if I were not to do anything else to this chest of drawers, it looks a whole heck of a lot better than where it started. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, so now time for the second layer for the drawers and for the outside edges of the around the sides of the chest. And for this, I'm going in with DIY's old school. And old school is kind of a grayish black. It's really a pretty color. But you'll see that I'm not even here trying to get full coverage, because this isn't the this won't be the final layer, at least not for the drawers. So, but I'm going in with DIY's old school, and I'm just getting it on all the drawers, and then I'm going to do it around the edges of the chest of drawers on each side. So remember when I said I changed my mind here? So rather than going back with the second layer of crinoline, I came back over the crinoline with apothecary for those inset panels on each side of the chest of drawer. And here's where we are now, y'all. Take a look. We're almost there. Well, not really, but it's looking better, don't you think? Okay, y'all, so here is the start of the show. This is DIY's newest paint inlay. It is called Lattice Rose, and it is beautiful, y'all. It is a inlay that has 8 sheets with 4 different patterns to it. So you get 2 sheets of each pattern in this inlay. Kind of this cottage vibe feel. So that's kind of what I'm going for. But look how pretty this is, y'all. I am so in love. Now, if you don't like your things mixed up, you're probably not gonna like this inlay. But I do. I'm kind of mixed up myself. So I love it. I love it that it's so they kind of all blend together, but they're not all alike. So you'll see here that I'm gonna go ahead and measure along the edge of my drawer, and I'm going to start out with my first inlay pattern. Y'all, these inlays are so easy to use. IOD designed these to be laid into paint. If you want them to match up, if these are inlays that need to match up, you just trim off that little outline around the inlay and then match them up. But the inlays were made to be laid into paint. So that is what you'll see me doing now. I'm laying a fresh layer of the DIY old school down so that I can lay my inlay into it. The only thing that you need to remember is that you want to lay your inlay with the paint side down and the gridded side up, like you'll see me doing here. And then just, I have a wet shop cloth. Just lay it in your paint and rub it down, y'all. It is that simple. It ain't nothing to it, just to do it. So you'll see that's what I'm doing here. My towel was wet enough that I didn't have to add water here, but you'll see that I'll add it a little bit later on because my towel will get dry. But just lay your inlay into the paint, making sure that the grid lines are up, and then take a wet towel. You can also spritz it a little if you want, and just rub it into the paint, y'all. So simple, but such a great outcome. And you'll see in a little bit. So here I go. I'm doing the second half of the drawer, laying my paint down, and the paint has to be wet. And so because this is chalk paint, it does dry out really quick. So even though this is sped up, I am really kind of working quick because I don't want my paint to dry. So I'm just laying a moderate layer of wet paint down. So now I can take my next sheet, match it up because I've trimmed off that little edge, and lay it into my paint and smooth it in, y'all. That's it. That's all there is to it. You could also use a brayer here if you wanted to, but child, I ain't got time for all that. I just take my wet towel, and you can see me just rubbing these wrinkles right out. And you can see that as I press this into the paint with my wet towel, it becomes clear, so that you know now that it's laid into the paint. Once it dries, it'll go back to being kind of cloudy looking, so that you'll kind of know that it's dry too. Now you can lay your inlays into top coat, but the inlays are also made so that you can use them more than once. But you only typically get one use if you lay them into the top coat. But if you use it into the paint or lay it into the paint, you can sometimes use it 3 times. Here in this video, you'll see that I use it twice. So now I have used one of each pattern on the drawers, and I'm going around the edges now with some of the leftover that I cut off, and I am going to just kind of mix and match it around the edge, doing the same thing, just laying down a fresh layer of paint and then laying the inlay into that paint. My fourth pattern I am going to use on the insets of this chest of drawers on each side. And to add to that, I'm going to go back and pull from the rose chintz inlay, which is also kind of a floral inlay. It's one of the earlier inlays that IOD did. And it'll kind of go, I think, well with this lattice rose inlay. So I'll be adding it as well to the insets on each side. All right, y'all, take a look. All of the inlay tattoos are on now. I have one pattern on each drawer. I have the fourth pattern along with that rose chintz inlay on the insets on each side, and a little bit of the rose chintz inlay up along that top drawer on that that little plaque. So I don't know, it's looking kind of good. This is going to be fun to peel off. So y'all, I really wanted y'all to see me peel this off in real time, but I don't know, my footage just disappeared. So unfortunately, I'm peeling it off in fast mode. But all you do is mist it. You can see that it has turned kind of cloudy again. That lets you know it's dry. So I'm just gonna mist it up and then peel them off, y'all. But now what we're going to do is I pulled out my carbide scraper. And so now I'm going to take that carbide scraper and I'm going to go and I'm going to scrape every place where I've textured at and try to peel back some of that, those colors underneath. And like I told y'all, I don't want to spoil my freeze. So, you know, I could have sanded this all down and did all that. I ain't got time for that. So I'm just going to embrace some of that blue and even some of that white. So that's what I'm doing with this scraper. Before I seal it, I'm just going to go back and I'm going to scrape away some of that texture to get down to maybe some of those other colors underneath there. All the scraping is done now, y'all. So on these inset panels, I'm taking that apothecary again, and I'm just going to go in and stamp out some of the inlay to make it kind of look, I want it to kind of look like it's kind of faded peeling wallpaper. So that's what I'm doing here. So 3 of these drawers are big and deep. and I wanted to do something along the side. So I gave them a thin layer because I don't want them to, get stuck. I gave it just a thin layer of the crinoline, and I pulled out my very favorite stamp, y'all, in the whole wide world, the Kindest Regards stamp. So once the crinoline was dry, I'm stamping it up using my StazOn ink, and I am just going to give it a little kindness along the side of each of these drawers. And just look how pretty that is, y'all. IOD certainly has my heart with this stamp. It is just beautiful. So because these drawers are just kind of big, deep wooden boxes, I just decided to give them a little something. So I'm using DIY's Pedal Pusher Blue paint to paint each drawer. And I'm not even trying to do it really, nothing special. But I'm just giving it one coat. And then I'm going to go back and do a second use on these inlays. And I'm just going to lay these in here while the paint is nice and wet. And just spritz it again, wipe it down, and peel them off. Just to kind of make it look like maybe there was a hand painting or something in there. Or maybe some wallpaper or something that's faded over time. And you can see now, even with second use, you get a lot of paint still left on here. So that is what I did with each of the drawers. I used a different pattern for each and just added a little something, something. So now I'm going to go back with that same Pedal Pusher Blue and kind of do the same thing I did on the insets. I'm just going to kind of take back a little bit of that inlay just to kind of make it look faded and old, keeping with that aged look because this is a vintage chest. Once this is done, I'm going to add a scented wax to each of the drawers just to kind of make them smell good. That will be the sealer for the insides of the drawers. And then I'm going to seal the whole outside of the chest with DIY's liquid patina. All right, y'all, quick look back at where we started with the Blue Beast and look at where we are now, y'all. I am so in love with this inlay. Look how pretty it is. I had 4 handles on this chest when I got it. I used 2 of those handles at the top, and then I added these little kind of teardrop type bronzy looking handles for the rest of the drawers. You can see on the top where I've embraced the natural finish. Well, not the natural finish, but the finish that was on it when I got it. And I pulled back some of that white, some of that blue. These inlays are fabulous, you guys. I love how this turned out, and I hope you guys did too. Thank you so much for watching. I certainly appreciate it. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and hopefully, maybe you may think about subscribing to my channel. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.